Hello beautiful people, how are you all doing? I hope you're doing great. Yeah, I'm all right myself. Thanks for asking. Thanks for tuning in to watch this video. Like the title suggested, we're making chin chin. Yeah, but one thing I would like to say about this chin chin is that I kind of saw a recipe from Chef Lola. Yeah, and it wasn't exactly the way she made it, but she gave some kind of descriptions in the description section on how you can make softer chin chin if you want to, and I followed that since I'm not really a big fan of hard chin chin. Yeah, so I kind of experimented and got exactly what I wanted. The reason I'm sharing it with us. Yes guys, so I will leave a link below, a link to that video, her video. I will leave a link below. Okay, let's get in and make chin chin. See you. So guys, to achieve this crumbly, I wouldn't call it soft, crumbly chin chin, these are the ingredients I needed. Okay, I needed 2 1/4 cup of flour. I needed 1/4 cup of sugar or 3 tablespoons. In here I've got 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and also 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, if that makes sense. I'm using 6 tablespoons of whole milk. I have some lemon zest, yeah, just about this much. And then I'll be using a pinch of salt, which I'll add into this bowl. Okay, I've got 1 large egg, and from this melted butter I'll be taking about 3 1/2 tablespoons. Okay, and of course I have my free bowl for mixing the wet ingredients. I have vegetable oil here for frying. Okay, let's start guys. I'll pour in the sugar into the flour as well as the other dry ingredients, and then I'll give that a good mix, kind of combine it, whips it together. I'll be setting it aside afterwards and move on to the wet ingredients. Cracking the 1 large egg into this bowl, and then add the lemon zest, and then goes in the 3 1/2 tablespoons of melted butter. And then I'll proceed to pour in my 6 tablespoons of whole milk and whip that together guys. Right after which I'll go ahead and create a well in the dry ingredients and pour in the wet ones. Okay, now we're forming the dough for this chin chin guys. I'm going to be leaving a full description of how to achieve hard chin chin, medium hard chin chin and soft chin chin in the description box, as well as the link to Chef Lola's recipe guys. Okay, the dough felt thirsty for me guys, so I'll be adding 1 more tablespoon of whole milk. Okay, and you can use evaporated milk or any kind of milk you prefer guys. Yeah, so we're working towards getting a crumbly, not too hard chin chin. Yeah, but if you want it hard or medium hard, you wouldn't need to add that milk I added at the end. Okay, yeah, so I'm going ahead to just knead it for good 4 or 5 minutes before we'll go ahead and roll out. Okay, so guys, I'm going to divide the dough in 2 because I would want to show us something, okay, with the 2 different parts. I'll go ahead now and just roll it out before we cut into our chin chin. Okay, yeah, by the way, no one should laugh at my tiny rolling pin. Okay. So, and I like to sprinkle a little bit of flour on the top of the dough, just so that when I'm cutting it, it stays in place. So for this one, this part of the dough, I'm going to be cutting it into sizable squares. Yes, I'm going to be cutting it into what I will call the bigger size of the chin chin I'm making. Yeah, then the next one I'll be doing something different, okay? And with it I'll be showing you something at the end of this baking, okay? Yeah, so I'll just cut it into squares like I told us. Yeah, making sure that I cut it very well. I didn't bother at all to cut off the rough edges, guys. Yeah, because all na chin chin, right? Yeah, I need those tiny crumbs as well. So I'll go over to the next part of the chin chin, and this particular one, I would want it to be longer than the first one, and they will be longer and tinier, okay? Yeah, so I'm working at getting both the thick ones that I just cut before now, and then longer strips, as well as very small tiny pieces as well. Yeah, so that's the reason I'm leaving out the edges like that. Yeah, so those edges are going to serve as our tiny chin chins. Yeah, while the middle part, the leveled ones, are going to be the longer strips. And guys, please pardon the singer in the background. Yeah, he's home from school today, and we have to make this, okay? Yeah, so guys, you can see that I tried to separate some of the chin chins, but I didn't spend a lot of time on that because they will be separating when I put them in the oil, okay? So I'll fry them differently. Yeah, starting with the longer strips first. To control the hotness of my oil, I like to start with just one strip of the chin chin, after which I will go ahead and just fry in bigger quantities, okay? Yeah, like I'm doing now. So what we'll be doing is just to add enough amount of the chin chin, yeah, but not too much since I'm using a small pot. If you're using a wider fry pan, you can add more than I did. So you want to make sure to keep stir frying this over and over until it's all browned, like evenly browned, okay? Yeah, if you leave it for long, it could get cooked on one side and not on the other side. And you know, this is not the kind of thing you want to flip, like maybe you flip a broader things like akara or something like that. You want to steadily stir and stay until it's ready, like it is at this point. And this particular one I removed from the fire now. I made sure to take it off the fire earlier. Yeah, it's going to be really soft. Guys, one thing I found out is that the longer you fry your chin chin, the crunchier it becomes. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing the frying in different stages. I want one to be very soft, like fry it not to not be too hard, and then the next batch I'll fry it to be really dry and crunchy. Yeah, so I'll show you what I mean at the end, okay? Yeah, like I was saying, the last ones I left in the oil for longer time. You can see it looks browner than the very first one I brought out. So guys, our chin chin is all ready. Yeah, you can see I'm excited. It turned out so well. Yeah, so I'll bring you closer now to see what I made. Even though it's not all cooled down yet, I'll show you what it looks like, then I'll allow it cool down completely before I package it into my containers. Let me have a taste, guys. First from the bigger ones. Yeah. It's just as soft as I would want it to be. It has a tiny little bit of crunch to it. Yeah. The tinier ones were a lot more crunchier. Like this one, for example. Did you hear that? Oh my god. Like this one, for instance, even though it was soft, but because it's tiny, It's crunchy too. So guys, here is the conclusion of this experiment. Yeah. Apart from the quantity of butter and the baking powder used, another thing that determines the texture of your chin chin is how long you fried it, and again how the size you cut it into. Okay, yeah. So now you can freely choose whichever you prefer, okay, and follow the steps I showed us. Do check out Chef Lola's recipe in the description box, as well as other descriptions and tips. Thank you so much for hanging on, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Make some for yourself. It's pretty easy to make. Okay? Yeah. Bye.